Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back again with your co-host, Chris. I almost said Cole's host.
We could go for that.
My Cole's host, Chris Coulson.
Howdy.
Howdy, partner.
How you doing this morning, Ross?
Dude, I've been watching Yellowstone.
Yeah?
Season 1.
Uh-huh.
The Kevin Costner show on Netflix, or on Paramount, rather, the opposite of Netflix.
Sure.
Where it's like Succession or like Game of Thrones, but on a ranch.
Mm-hmm. It's like Longmire mixed with Succession.
It's fucking incredible. Never
Really?
seen Longmire, but sure, yes.
You should watch Longmire. Great show. Continue.
And the accents and the way they talk to each other. Basically, Barrett and I on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our television and film podcast here at Bolen Media, we ended up doing cowboy accents back and forth to each other for like probably a total of 20 minutes sparse throughout the show. But then the last like 5 minutes, we really derailed.
Yeah.
Until Barrett literally had to be like, dude, we have to stop doing this. Like, we can't just keep doing ridiculous cowboy talk.
It's
back
like the
and forth
Twitch
to each other.
streams, but you guys went cowboy instead of Russian.
Exactly. It was exactly like that.
You're a big accent guy.
I think I am.
I think you are. You're an accent guy.
Like, I can't really do impressions of people.
But the accents
But
aren't
I can
bad.
do okay accents.
You don't usually butcher them. The issue with a lot of accent people is they transition into different accents as they're going through an accent. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They lose focus for a second, and then
Sure.
all of a sudden you went from Ireland to like South Asia Pacific or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
South African.
Yeah, exactly. Very quickly. It's pretty hilarious. But you are a good accent guy. You have a good Russian one.
That's really the only one I've got, if we're being real.
Russian and country.
That's actually mastered.
Russian in country. That's what we got going for us.
None of which you'll get right now because you have to go to twitch.tv/bossrollin for that Russian accent talk, baby. We're going to open today with something strange. Not that that's unusual for this show, but we don't usually talk about Dancing with the Stars.
We don't.
It's
At
not
least we haven't since I've been here.
It's not a prevalent topic
No, I would say not.
on RBP. In fact, I can't remember if it's ever even been mentioned.
Have you ever been a Dancing with the Stars watcher? A fan of the show?
I've probably seen like 3 episodes total,
Okay.
and I want to say they've been on the air for like 15 years or something.
I think it's long. Actually, 15 sounds about right. It's probably right around that.
I'm asking when it started to the Google. Wow.
How many seasons?
It started June 1st, 2005.
So 15.
Which makes me
That's like 15 years
a freak.
on the freaking dot.
Which makes me a freak. Secretly, I'm a huge Dancing with the Stars fan.
I was gonna say you've been watching. He was like, I think it's been
just-
around for like 15
casually,
years or so.
15
years, 3 months,
15
7
years.
days, and 2 hours.
15 years,
Something like that.
2 months and a day, I think,
Yeah,
roughly.
Roughly.
Roughly there.
Yeah. The first 7 champions were okay, but after that they got better. So.
Yeah. So the lineup for their next season came out. Their lineup for the celebrities and such, former athletes, television and movie stars, and the like.
The icons of our generation, some might say.
Yes, who will be appearing on this next season has been revealed. And Coles, you're not going to believe this, but that bitch Carole Baskin is on the list of competitors.
I can't believe Carole Baskin's only 59.
From
kinda
Tiger
thought she-
King fame, of course.
Yes.
I'd
absolutely.
place her about 59.
Yeah, I thought she
I
was
would
a
have
little
guessed
bit
somewhere
older.
between 50 and 65.
I just feel like she's gone through so much shit that like she feels like she was born in like the 40s. I
Chris,
don't know.
she hasn't gone through so much shit. She puts other people through shit.
Sure.
And
Low-key,
turns them
okay,
into literal tiger shit.
might get some heat for this. Hot take on Carole Baskin. The Tiger King documentary made her look like shit. And honestly,
How
Joe.
is that a hot take?
Well, I mean, that's not the hot take about it. I
Oh,
don't think
okay.
she deserved to be presented in that way.
Oh.
Like, Joe Exotic was a dick to the animals that he had. Like, he murdered tigers and
Look.
sold baby cubs. And Carole Baskin has a humanitarian reserve. But it is funny to make
Okay.
fun of her in regards to that.
Undoubtedly, Joe Exotic got praise that he shouldn't have gotten.
Yes, and
And
Carole
it's because he was funny
yeah,
and stupid.
he was charismatic.
But let's...
And
yeah,
he was a redneck.
in a sociopathic way, though.
He was a polygamous redneck gay man with an exotic animal farm.
Joe Exotic, nose ring.
Nose ring guy.
Nose
Big
ring guy.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Uh-huh.
There are parallels to be drawn between you and Joe.
Oh, yeah?
I guess that's the only one.
Okay. I would hope so.
Point being, yes, Joe was a shit.
Yeah, he kind of was a shit.
Joe's in prison.
He is in prison as
For
well.
a reason.
For attempting to murder Carole Baskin.
But everybody hated Carole Baskin, and because, it looked like she murdered her husband, allegedly,
Yeah.
maybe.
Did you know her husband had crashed his plane like twice before this and was notably known as a horrible pilot? Like, terrible pilot.
See? He had it coming.
Yeah.
It was inevitable for that guy.
He also owed a lot of money to some people down in Puerto Rico.
Was it the Russian mob?
Not the Russian mob. Something like Cuba. One of those. It was either Gulf of Mexico type of country down there or Central American.
What?
He owed a bunch of money to somebody down there. I think it was Cuba.
A Gulf of Mexico type of country.
I don't know why that's how
Texas.
I described it. That was horrible. But you guys know what I mean. Like the Dominican Republic. How do you describe those? The island nations of the Gulf of Mexico? Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico.
There are no island nations in the Gulf of Mexico.
What are those in? Just the Atlantic?
The Bahamas, the Caribbean? I don't fucking know.
The Bahamas are not a
You talking about Central America?
No, I'm talking about like the Dominican Republic and Cuba.
Let's find out. Let's find out where the Dominican Republic is real quick. It's in the Caribbean, dude.
The Caribbean. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I couldn't come up with it in my head.
Yeah, Gulf of Mexico.
Sorry about that.
Literally islandless. It's just there are islands of poo.
Oh, okay.
Floating poo.
Just floating poo.
And trash, but no actual islands that you could dance on.
Okay.
For example.
That's very true. Dancing with the Stars is hilarious in how they pick their celebrities because sometimes the set list is like very, very famous people that are world renowned, and then right behind them is like some internet star that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, but I mean, Dancing with the Stars is like it's like being a pirate and getting handed the black spot.
Okay.
Like you're done. It's
You think?
over for you if you're on Dancing with the Stars. I mean, let's get into the list. Yes, they will have world-renowned A-list celebrities
Yes.
of the past, like Nelly. The 45-year-old rapper Nelly, who is appearing on this next season with Carole Baskin. Nelly is an A-lister, but in the 2000s, right? Like Nelly is washed, like he's done. It's over for Nelly. Like Nelly's biggest thing he's had happen is that he was on one of those like Instagram playlist face-offs with Ludacris.
Yeah, I'm now looking
in the past
at
5-10
the list.
years.
I'm looking at the list of winners and like who has maintained relevancy over the years.
Yeah.
There's not many.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Like at all. It's I mean Emmitt Smith, but even him,
Bro, that's a retired NFL
and
player.
he's not like in the spotlight or anything like that.
And
I know
he's
Ocho
not
Cinco,
a media guy. Emmett is not like a dude you see everywhere.
Rashad Jennings, I would say he kind of. I mean, but again, that's from sports. That has
Don't even
nothing to
know
do
who he
with
is off the top.
Rashad Jennings.
I know NFL.
Packers wide receiver for a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jennings.
I guess there's a Greg too somewhere. I
Hard to
believe.
remember all the Jennings, and I feel like they all play for the Packers.
But yeah, I would say a lot. The football players always just fuck. They always destroy at Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, Vernon Davis is on this next season.
Yeah, I would say he's a favorite in my opinion.
I've got him as a could win this thing.
I would
That's
agree.
the note I wrote.
I would agree. How long do you think Carole Baskin will last? I think low key she'll pull out some moves. I think she's had to be avoiding tigers, or she's got to have some agility in there somewhere.
Dude, she doesn't look like she'd be able to dance even a little bit, like at all. She looks like, you know how just white people notoriously
can't dance.
Just it's a lack of rhythm. It's not that we can't dance.
Yeah.
We can dance.
Yeah.
It's just it's disgusting.
Hey, is cotillion a thing in Texas?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, I just was checking. I was describing cotillion to somebody the other day, and they had no clue what I was talking about.
I mean, I still wouldn't be able to like describe it. I know it's a dance you do in high school, and I think the girls invite the guys.
Oh no, never mind. We're talking about very different things.
That's something else. It's called like Sister Alice or some shit.
That's
Martha Mary.
No, but I know that's when girls ask guys.
Doesn't matter.
Fuck it.
Carole Baskin.
Anyways, Sadie Hawkins. That's what it's called. Sadie Hawkins.
Martha Mary.
I was gonna kill myself. If I didn't get that. But what I was saying. Cotillion, back home in the
Ah,
South.
Cotillion.
So it's in southern, like Texas isn't really the South. It's like southwestern almost in a sense. Texas is its own thing. It's its own cultural.
Well, we're like the most
culture.
South, but we're not
But
a
you're
southern
not the
state.
South,
We're
you know
not,
what I mean?
Texas was not part of the Confederacy.
Well, it was.
Texas doesn't have like a good. Was it? Were we at the end? Did we jump in at the end there?
You were.
We don't have any like real Southern heritage to speak of. Like,
Not like that. It's got its own Texas
Texas
heritage.
is not the South.
That's why you learn Texas history in high school, you crazy bastards. But anyways,
for like all of middle school too.
so
every
cotillion
single
is
year.
this thing that in the South you go to when you're in probably 6th grade, and you have to dress up in a suit and tie, and you go, and that's where you learn table manners as well as ballroom dances. So you have to go and you learn like where your salad fork goes.
Yeah, I
where your
did this
known fork,
shit.
all that kind of shit. Yeah,
I did
exactly.
this shit.
But the worst part about it is you have to learn all these ballroom dances that involve dancing with partners, and you're in 6th grade in suit and ties. The girls are in like
This is the
ankle-
whitest fucking nonsense
so white,
of all time.
So white. The girls are in dresses like down to their ankles, like southern ball gowns, and then you have to pick a partner, which is super awkward when you're in 6th grade and you have to dance with a girl for the first time. And then they make you like get set and everything like that, and so it's like the first time that you like put your hand on a girl's hip. You know what I mean? You're just like,
Well, it wasn't my first time, but sure.
oh yeah, right. I forgot Ross was just slaying in elementary
6th grade
school.
pimp.
Fucking destroying. But yeah,
No, man, I wasn't
so that's
saying
where
all
I
that.
learned how
Jesus.
to ballroom dance and foxtrot and
Foxtrot, that's the one. That's the one they made us do. We were trotting like foxes.
But yeah, I hated cotillion.
Foxes?
And every time Dancing with the Stars and ballroom dancing makes me
Feeks?
makes me think about the PTSD I have from that.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Well, anyway, we got Carole Baskin, who no, I do not think will have any fucking moves. I just don't see it in her, and I feel like I'm a really good judge of looking at a person and knowing whether or not they've got it.
Sure.
And she doesn't have it.
Sure.
Nellie's got a chance. Vernon Davis is a real threat. Charles Oakley, 56-year-old former NBA star. Look, Charles Oakley is a boss. But, man, he is 56. And these old school NBA guys, like, have you ever watched Inside the NBA?
Have you ever watched like Shaq and Charles Barkley try to walk?
Have you ever
around?
watched Kenny Smith and
Yeah.
Shaq try to race to the big board?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys don't move all that well, bro.
No, they have
They're
to kinda-
fucking 6'10", and their knees have been holding up all that weight their whole lives, and they don't move well.
They use their momentum to like carry themselves to the next step.
Their knees are always like buckling. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like buckling as they go. Barkley's one of the greatest examples. Charles Oakley, man, I don't know, man. He's just an older NBA cat. I'm happy he's there, but I don't feel like he's got a good shot. Johnny Weir, former Olympian, Olympic figure skater.
Name
Johnny,
actually rings
the
a bell.
hair.
Yeah.
Where? Weir? Doesn't matter.
I hope it's where now.
Wouldn't bet against this cat.
No, figure skaters always have the edge.
They crush.
He might win.
Here's a guy that I that just if he's in the lineup, then the lineup is made up of irrelevant people. AJ McClain, the 42-year-old former Backstreet Boys star, and if you're going, well, which one is he? He's the one with the worst facial hair. And it's still not great.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah. He's the guy that when you saw the Backstreet Boys and you were like, all right, I get it. Bunch of hot guys swinging their dicks around. And then you saw this guy and you were like, what is that, their uncle? How did he get in? His facial hair alone
Yeah,
should have kept him out.
This look right here is like the epitome of like white people in the music industry in the mid 2000s.
Now it's like
That wanna be
now
cool,
it's
that
like
wanna be cool.
I'm 40 and that's probably what I'm gonna look like in like 8 years. I'm scared. Don't
Please
let that
never
happen
wear
to
your-
me.
If you ever walk in and your hat looks like this.
Well, that's never gonna happen.
okay. Good.
That's never, ever, 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 ever going to happen.
They do look like some nice glasses though. Maybe some Felix Grays on there.
If I come in and then my hat is sideways, call the police because something has gone wrong. I've snapped.
911.
I've snapped. Anyway, if you get a DWTS invite, your career is dead. Also, if you're wondering, how are they going to do
That's what the fans call it.
DWTS?
That's what the diehards call it.
I'm telling you, been secretly watching every season since it started 15 years ago on June 1st. The producers, obviously, there's got to be issues, changes made to the way they do the show, the live audience, etc. But they're not really. The producers are being mum about the pandemic-related production changes. But they have said the pairs won't be wearing masks or dance socially distantly.
That's good. That probably wouldn't be ideal.
I don't know what a socially distant dance would look like. I guess if you and I both stood up right now and began to dance with each other but separately. I feel like there's some like 1800s dances that involve a lot of this move from far away.
Sure.
Just weird hands at each other.
Oh, and the fishing rod, that's a classic far away, socially distanced
Yeah, but
dance.
if you reel me in, then what? We both have COVID.
I keep backing up, though. I'll keep backing up.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Back.
My favorite dance move to whip out at the bar is the old belt limbo. Belt limbo gets them every time. So here's what you do. Here's a trick for all you college kids out there. The ladies love
What
this.
is belt limbo?
Trust.
Okay, trust.
Again, shouts to Alex Presley for teaching me this as his young protege growing up. So you always wear a belt to the bar, right? If you're wearing pants, jeans, etc., etc. So when you get to the bar, party gets popping a little bit. Once you get there's always they drop like a little salsa type of song in there, like a club style song that's a little Latina bass. You know what I mean? It's got a little beat to a little rhythm.
Where am I right now?
I don't know, a club.
Okay.
Then you take your belt off, right? And with your partner in crime, who in this case is Alex, usually, he holds the other end of the belt, and all of a sudden you have a limbo stick. You get the line going. You keep motivating the girls to go through. This seems
dangerous.
They fucking love it, dude.
This is how you get punched in the face.
It is how you get punched in the face. We've been kicked out of a couple bars as well because of it. But every time that it's worked, the entire bar fucking loves it, and then you're a legend the entire night. We've gotten a lot of I've gotten more free drinks from the belt limbo than I've gotten kicked out of bars.
You know how there's like an NBA player or an NFL player or in sports, there's always a guy when he's not on your team, like Patrick Beverley, Chris Paul. There are these guys that if they're not on your team, you absolutely fucking hate them.
Sure.
But when they're on your team,
you love them.
Best player, favorite player,
Newton.
Fan favorite.
Yeah.
Cam, I don't know, man.
Actually,
I always loved Cam.
Okay.
I think Cam's very
fair.
likable outside of just Carolina and now New England.
A lot of
but there's all these players that he gets a lot of hate too.
A lot of the white people back home had some issues with his outfits, but we can go over that.
There's a lot of racist people don't like Cam Newton for sure because he's flashy as fuck and incredibly arrogant, as they would put it, on the field, which is not a fair assessment. And anyway, neither here nor there.
I know what you mean.
There's always that guy who, when he's on your team, you love him. When he's off your team, you hate him. You're that guy at the bar. Yeah. If we go to the bar together, Coles, and you do the belt limbo, that's great, man.
Yeah.
I'm all in for it. I'm stoked on the energy. It's great that you've got all the ladies coming over to our area. If I don't know you and I'm in the bar and I'm just me, socially fucking anxious, no longer drinks Ross. Well, actually, now that I'm not drinking and just smoke weed, I'd probably be highly entertained, pun intended. But old school Ross, who drank at the bar, was just a miserable fuck. And Bill Chungus and the like, they would have looked over at you and been like, what's this dude's deal? Why?
I'll be honest.
Why are they doing the belt limbo? Look at these douchebags.
I'll be honest, there have been a few times where there's been a group of people close to us as we're doing the belt limbo, and a girl's been talking to a guy or something like that, and I'll be like, come on, just give it a shot or something like that, and then the girl goes and does it, and I turn around to see the guy literally giving me the death stare like I'm about to beat your ass once you step outside this bar look. It's not a good one. But worth it every time.
Yeah, because then it's like, why are you getting my girl to bend over backwards
under your
publicly, under your belt?
Mm-hmm.
Your belt.
Yep. My belt now. That's a great one. I recommend everybody out there use the belt limbo when the bars open back up.
Belt limbo.
Also, socially distanced dance. You keep your distance, leave room for Jesus.
Everybody does seem to be safely distanced in a limbo sitch.
Yeah.
Until somebody goes down and breaks their back.
Well, that's true.
And needs help.
I've seen some very impressive limbos as well. That's something that you don't really expect out of it, but sometimes, so there's this club back home called the Roxbury. It's literally based on Night at the Roxbury. And
okay.
So they only play pretty much 80s themed music. Actually, I haven't been in the bathrooms there much, but that's probably expected. Regardless, that's where we break out the belt limbo quite often just because it's so much fun. The vibes are always great. And the age range in that bar is 25 to... I'm always the youngest person there. I've never met another 21-year-old in that bar. But I go with Alex all the time. It's always 25 to 50.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
And so we would always get 50-year-old moms that would be hammered for the night. They would come out and fucking crush the belt limbo. absolutely dominate.
Now you got moms involved.
It's fantastic. I miss
their
the
husbands
limbo.
aren't even there. You know they're not there.
If they're even married.
When the moms are at the bar, the husbands are never there. It's just moms.
Because the husbands are
Because let me tell you something about
home
married people.
drinking beer.
They don't want to fucking hang out. All right, so when you have like a girls' night, like when married older women go to the bar,
Yep.
they go with their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Mostly, it's like a girls' night.
Yeah.
Because they got to plan this shit like 3 weeks ahead of time, find a babysitter or convince their husband or whatever to watch the kid. And they don't want to hang out with men. They just want time with their ladies, with the girls.
Sure.
So when the moms are at the bar and you've got them doing limbo away from their husbands, it's just a real cuck precedent
Actually,
that you're setting.
but I'm not cucking, actually, if you think about it. Because what I'm doing is I'm loosening them up and getting them ready to go back to their husbands in a jovial and happy mood. I'm doing them a favor.
More realistically, you're sending them back with a minor back injury. And they're unable to...
That the husband can now take care of in the bedroom.
With a massage? There's
Or-
nothing worse than sex with a back injury. And on that note, RBP 328 is brought to you by Birddogs, makers of the most comfortable all-purpose shorts in the fucking world. You can literally wear them to do anything, anywhere, at any time. If you have a back injury, relax in your Birddogs until it's all better. What are Birddogs? They're gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear obsolete. And now they make pants with built-in underwear.
Pants.
And without it. If you're afraid of change, you fucking coward. They're the
or
most
if
breathable.
you don't wear underwear.
That too. Summer-friendly, golfing your dick off pants you've ever owned. Perfect for the golf course, the office, or a nice meal out on the town. They look great. Nobody will ever know you're 1,000 times more comfortable than they are in your Birddogs pants, baby. They're shockingly comfortable, honestly. Feels like you're wearing nothing downstairs, like you're wandering the earth as Winnie the Pooh once did. Rest in being to Winnie the Pooh.
He's dead?
I don't know. I just kind of assume... I guess he's probably not. Anyway, Birddogs, they dry faster than a bathing suit. You can hit a workout, jump straight into the pool, get out, dry off in the sun, wear them to drive around in your Tesla because you have a Tesla now. Drive that Tesla back home, wash it with your golden retriever Elvis because you're wearing Birddogs. And baby, you can do anything. Go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code RBP when you check out, and they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks. Because you need nunchucks. I keep mine right next to my bed.
He does.
In
yeah.
case someone like kicks in the door, waving the 4-4. Birddogs nunchucks coming for that ass. That's birddogs.com, code RBP. Boom, free nunchucks with your order. Enjoy your Birddogs. You will never want to take them off. They're a safe space for all your most valuable possessions. Now time for some announcements and shouts. Happy birthday to Cam from Grand Blanc coming up September 6th. Thank you for supporting the show and for being a dues-paying member on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. You are the man. Say hi to Jules. If you want to watch episodes of this show, not just listen to them, you can do so on youtube.com/Bolen Media, where you can see us and our shining faces, not just hear our beautiful voices. youtube.com/Bolen Media. We often go live on Twitch. Speaking of places you can see our shining faces, twitch.tv/BossRollin. Our schedule as it currently exists is Sunday, Monday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Central we go live. We have been alternating that here and there to try to work some day streams in, and changes will be made in the future as well. So stay on top of social media where we always announce when we're live. Come through twitch.tv/BossRollin. Hit us with a follow and a subscribe, and you'll always be notified when we go live. And again, if you follow Coles and I and all the RBP accounts on social media, which will be announced at the end of the show, those accounts, then you'll be solid. Always know when we're live on Twitch. Come through, support the stream, enjoy the gameplay, the conversation, and the freakouts from both Coles and I.
I have an announcement as well.
Announce.
Shouts to Nick. Happy birthday, brother. One of King Bobby's good buddies and a listener to the show. I got hit up from a couple different people about it, actually. So shouts to Nick. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Hope you have
On
a
that
wonderful
note?
day. That was my shout. That was my announcement.
Okay, good.
We
First segment. George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Damn shame.
Today, September 2nd, is the 15-year anniversary of not only, a month and a day removed from the launch of Dancing with the Stars, DTWS, but also perhaps an even more historic television moment in my lifetime. September 2005, NBC broadcast a concert for hurricane relief.
This was post-Katrina, correct?
Yes, and Kanye West was invited as a featured speaker.
Of course.
Now, they had all these different celebrities in all these different parts of the country live on TV.
Socially distanced on Zoom?
No.
Okay.
Just in different parts of the country in a normal news type of setting with a microphone, a camera, so they'd go from one celebrity to the other celebrity. All the celebrities had something to say about why you needed to pitch in. This was to raise money for the Red Cross in support of Hurricane Katrina victims. Kanye West was presenting alongside actor Mike Myers of Austin Powers fame. And this was in the height of like Austin Powers still being relevant, I guess.
Yeah, because we haven't seen Mike Myers in a bit, I feel like.
He was in Inglourious Bastards in a small cameo that he
Was
crushed. He was.
What did he do? Was he
He
a
was
German dude?
he was a British officer.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Good. Glad he's staying relevant, honestly.
So I love Mike Myers, by the way. If you've never watched So I Married an Axe Murderer, underrated Mike Myers, weird rom-com flick comedy thing. He does jam poetry,
That's sick.
which is tight.
Wait, is that the same as slam poetry?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay,
That's totally what I said.
I was just curious.
So Kanye's presenting along Mike Myers, Austin Powers, okay? And he completely deviates from the script. They're all reading off of a teleprompter.
The thing is, it looks like he's still reading off of a teleprompter, or somebody on the teleprompter is like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up.
No, he's just staring directly at whatever he's picked to stare at.
Okay.
I think he's staring into the camera directly.
He does for most of it, and then he'll like glance to the side to what I was
probably because
assuming.
people back there are like, stop!
Yeah, that's what I'm
for
thinking.
For the love of
like-
God, stop! So Coles had actually never seen this video until this morning.
So
but
I was 6 when this came on. Like I was 6 years old. I was much too young to. I might have seen it.
I was 28.
Holy shit.
No, I was young too. What was 15 years ago? What was I? I'm 33.
So you were 18.
18 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kanye deviates from the script, obviously. He actually told, apparently, Mike Myers, he said, yo, I'm going to ad-lib a little bit. And I'm sure immediately, because Kanye had already, listen, this is the first huge public moment for him where he became like the unpredictable Kanye West that we know today. And also, when you watch this video, you'll realize Kanye's always been Kanye.
Yeah.
Like all this crazy shit he's doing in 2020, it's not really breaking narrative for him. He's always been incredibly unpredictable. He's probably always exhibited signs of bipolar, which he's now been obviously more recently diagnosed with. But this is never a guy that was like normal and stable.
Yeah, because after I watched this for the first time this morning, I told Ross, I was like, Kanye didn't really make a coherent point the entire time. He just kind of talked about
which has always been his problem. He's
Yeah.
not a great communicator.
I knew what he was saying.
Let me tell you what he said.
Okay.
Live on TV, standing next to Mike Myers, as Mike Myers just has the most hilarious look on his face, like, oh my God, what is happening? Here's what he says. After telling Mike, I'm going to ad-lib a little bit. He said, I hate the way they portray us in the media. You see a black family, it says, they're looting. You see a white family, it says, they're looking for food. And you know, it's been 5 days because most of the people are black. And he means it's been 5 days and they don't have any help yet in New Orleans. And even for me to complain about it, I would be a hypocrite because I've tried to turn away from the TV because it's too hard to watch. I've even been shopping before giving a donation, so now I'm calling my business manager right now to see what is the biggest amount I can give, and just imagine if I was down there, and those are my people down there. So anybody out there that wants to do anything that we can help, with the way America is set up to help the poor, the black people, the less well-off, as slow as possible. I mean, the Red Cross is doing everything they can. We already realize a lot of people that could help are at war right now, fighting another way, and they've given them permission to go down and shoot us.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike Myers says a prepared line, and then it goes back to Kanye, and Kanye goes, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And then Mike Myers does something along this. He looks at the camera first. He's like, wait. And then he goes.
He just looks at Kanye like, wait, and then it flashes
goes,
to Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
And Chris Tucker's
He's
yeah. And you can
and then he just keeps
you can tell Chris Tucker kind of loved it but he's just so fucking confused by like what just happened that he's like, anyway, yeah, you want to go ahead and give. There's gonna be some like we're gonna have to give to help because there's not to help. It's unbelievable. It's just one of the all-time live TV moments. It established Kanye as Kanye, the way we know and love him and sometimes hate him, and. Yes, it was rambling and incoherent in the way it was delivered. He's always had these communication issues. His method of communication through music, mostly flawless.
Yeah.
Up until the last couple albums, in my opinion. His method of communication through general conversation, absolutely awful. If you've ever seen him in concert, he will go on these 20-minute, 30-minute rambling, incoherent, like just to nobody. I saw him in concert and he spent 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Is this like no music in the background?
No music in the background, just rambling into the microphone about how Walt Disney never had a bad bitch like Kim. So he was more of a genius than Walt Disney. Like, moments like that I'll never, ever forget. I'm talking at music festivals, at Austin City Limits, during the height of his My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy fame, which was his far and away best album when he was at the peak of his career.
Yeah. One
of the most respected musicians of all time at that point. He did one of these 30-minute things. And I was so high holding this flagpole in the audience that I was like nodding off. Like, just like, you can't understand anything he's saying. Oh my, I knocked over an empty cup. You can't understand a goddamn thing he's saying. And that has always sort of been the case. But when you read what he said,
yeah,
these are all very relevant points that still stand in 2020.
No, absolutely.
And that was what was jarring about watching the speech again.
Yeah, I was like, this speech could be happening right now. And
it could have been Donald Trump doesn't care about black people.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Obviously, we don't have a current Katrina-esque type of natural disaster on our hands in the United States, but we have a very real natural disaster, if you want to call it natural. I don't know if it is or isn't. Maybe we never will. But we have a fucking pandemic on our hands.
Well, we have that. We have California wildfires. We have
plenty of stuff.
Lake Charles is under 6 feet of water in Louisiana. It was totally destroyed from Hurricane Laura. I mean...
Plenty. That this could have easily happened in 2020. Although I don't think anybody would allow Kanye West to be in a live television situation in 2020. That would be shocking to me if they did.
It felt like he was like trying to make his point, and then Mike Myers made his point again, and Kanye in his head was like, well, that wasn't exactly the point I was trying to get to. And so when it came back to him, he was just like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. He was just like, I'm just going to get it out there.
President Bush would later call this one of the most, quote, disgusting moments, end quote, of his presidency.
Was he because he was ashamed of it, or because he felt that it was very out of line?
I think because he felt it was out of line. But you got to remember, this was a different time.
Yeah, people
not that long ago, but you didn't shit talk the president publicly.
No. I mean the Dixie Chicks, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dixie Chicks got canceled.
Because they spoke out against George Bush and the war in the Middle East.
Now you get canceled for keeping your mouth shut as a celebrity.
Yeah, for the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy
or
times.
for,
crazy times.
Sex crimes.
Well, that too. But
those will do it.
Wasn't really going to go.
Anyway, why was this moment with Kanye West so big? What made it so funny? Mike Myers' face.
All time.
Chris Tucker's reaction. You got to remember, this is 2000 and what? Kanye West dropped Late Registration in 2005, okay?
Also,
so that was his second album.
Like, most of the country was probably watching this.
It was a very, very big deal. It was not something that was like you saw it on YouTube in a clip after. Like, everybody knew when it happened.
Yeah.
Because enough people were literally watching the live
And everybody
telethon
watches
deal.
it on the same channel. It's not like there's all these different streaming platforms or anything now. Everybody was probably watching this literally live.
So Late Registration is out. It's his sophomore album. He's 2 albums in. He's proven that he's amongst the GOATs at that point. Now, maybe we didn't have that appreciation for those 2 albums yet, but those 2 albums definitely, in hindsight, solidified him as one of the greatest producer, musician, rappers to ever do it.
I mean, it was definitely GOAT status enough to get him onto the relief program. With
Mike Myers and Chris Tucker.
With some of the most famous people in America at that time.
But he was the old Kanye for sure. He was 28 years old. He was a young dude. And it's just interesting to watch that video and see his same energy from 2020 that is now looked at in such a different light. And there's just so much more exposure in 2020 to what Kanye has to say and his thoughts and feelings with social media. Whereas 15 years ago, that wasn't as much the case. And where in 2020, we have all these outlets for celebrities to make statements all the time. say whatever they want, get their message out on all these platforms. 15 years ago, this was the biggest example of like him yelling something into the microphone on live TV to millions and millions of people. There wasn't just a place for him to go tweet that. This was it.
Yeah. So you had to make your point.
So it's just a completely different world in terms of where celebrities had the ability to get their messages out. And it's what made Kanye choosing a live telethon to support Hurricane Katrina relief victims as his platform to go off script in front of Austin Powers. Just one of the great moments in TV and in general, like
In pop culture
social
history.
justice history, pop culture history. Like, it was just unbelievable.
So this begs the question, has Kanye changed, or does he just have more access to say what he wants to say now?
I definitely think his stuff that he deals with mentally has come to be more of an issue as he's aged. Like, for many mental health patients in their late 20s, early 30s, things really escalate. And I think that is what happened with him. But I don't think that he has changed that much,
Like
obviously.
yeah.
In terms of his general outspokenness, obviously he has not changed at all. Now, in terms of what politically, obviously he went from, this was one of the things that was so heartbreaking for black people to see him go from the guy who went on TV and said George Bush doesn't care about black people to the guy that was wearing a MAGA hat. It was very confusing. It still is confusing. It will probably be confusing until the day I die.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can't argue with that one.
Yeah. So there we go.
Well, thanks for the pop culture lesson.
Little
this
history
morning.
lesson there for you, kids.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
How about that? RBP 328 is also brought to you by Bespoke Post. As we all settle into this new normal, Bespoke Post is here with customized box of awesome collections for guys, guaranteed to upgrade your life. Right now, some of my favorite boxes that they have available are the Weekender. It's an incredible Weekender bag for your safe travels this summer. Also, the Bright, where you get a pair of sunglasses, a collapsible shot glass, and a fucking pocket comb because it's windy and shit at the beach, and you need that. Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. No matter what you're into, Box of Awesome has you covered, from style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, outdoor gear. Box of Awesome has carefully built collections for every part of your life. To get started, you simply go take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. It takes a couple minutes. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories that you can check out on their website. It's free to sign up. You can cancel or skip a month at any time. Each box costs only $45 but has over $70 worth of gear inside. Incredible deals. Get 20% off your first monthly box. To add to that savings, 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com. Boxofawesome.com. Enter the code RBP at checkout. Again, that's boxofawesome.com, code RBP for 20% off your first box from Bespoke Post. Next segment.
And now, Ross Bolen's Animal of the Week.
Been a while, Coles.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Since we had an Animal of the Week.
I think this may be my first.
Is it?
I think it is.
Shut the fuck up.
I think so. I don't think I've done
It's
one
entirely
yet.
possible.
Wow. We're making big moves.
The red-bellied piranha.
Wow. I'm honored. The red-bellied piranha and I now will have a lifelong bond. Might have to be my spirit animal.
A lifelong bong.
Bond. But yeah, bong too, hopefully.
Shows where your head is.
Yeah. Can't wait to... No, I'm just kidding. But I think it will have to be my spirit animal moving forward.
Listen to this.
Significant.
Didn't know this about piranhas, Coles.
Okay.
Although often described as extremely dangerous in the media, when you think of piranhas, what do you think of?
You think of the cartoon piranhas that come in and they go... And then there's just bones.
The cow's gone.
It's only bones. The cow.
What do you think of?
Why are piranhas eating a cow?
I don't know. What did you think of them eating? A person?
Whale? Shark? Fish? I don't know.
A whale?
Why would it eat a cow?
I don't know, feed it a cow like they fed the fucking velociraptors in Jurassic Park.
Well, velociraptors are land animals, so it makes sense they would feed them a cow. Piranhas are in the ocean. And there's very rarely cows in the ocean.
Clever girl.
Regardless, we can go back to the piranha now.
Anyway, piranhas typically do not represent a serious threat to humans.
Look at that. We've been bamboozled.
By the fake news media.
Wow.
The FMN. Wait, the FNM.
The red-bellied piranha is like the silent majority. They're just getting attacked by the media, keeping their mouth shut and just going along with life.
Not even actually a serious risk to humans.
Nope.
Unbelievable. However, attacks have occurred especially when the piranhas are stressed.
Sure.
Like when they're in dense groups that may occur when the water is low during the dry season and food is relatively scarce, accidentally, there's a fucking kid in the water.
Kind of sounds like 2020 right there.
Suddenly, his fucking leg is gone. And if you splash around, splashing around attracts some children.
Okay.
They're big splashers.
So do children get commonly attacked by piranhas?
More often than adults because
Okay.
adults don't splash so much,
Absolutely. You're not a splasher?
But I'm a bit of a man-child.
Do you doggy paddle or freestyle?
I do both.
Okay. Majority dog. I feel like
Strong
you're a dog-
swimmer, Chris.
Yeah.
To be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have stated that you have lungs of a swimmer.
I
So
do.
I figured
I do have the lungs of a swimmer.
You have the arms too. You have length.
I was on swim team as a young boy.
I was never on swim team actually.
I always
Something
found
I
it
always
strange
wanted
they
to
make
do.
you wear a, I almost said bikini, Speedo.
Well, it's for aerodynamic. To be aerodynamic in the water.
It's for your penis.
Sure.
Weed cough. To
I
make
was
your
just think-
penis aerodynamic so it doesn't hold you down or
Well, it's
back.
just less drag. Well, that's true. I guess that would create drag.
Well, it depends.
I
on the
use my penis like a rudder though.
To steer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It helps me turn quicker.
Anyway, the red-bellied piranha, also known as the red piranha, it's a species of piranha native to South America, where I feel like all of the piranha are native to. Locally abundant in freshwater, the freshwater habitat. It's an omnivorous forager who feeds on insects, worms, crustaceans, and fish. Omnivores. Big fan of the omnivore.
Me too.
They often
Considering-
travel in shoals as a predatory defense, but rarely exhibit group hunting behavior. So they rarely do the thing you think of, where they're all eating something at the same time together.
They're kind of cute in like a dumb way. Like they look.
They look
just
a little
kinda-
silly,
Yeah, they look a little silly until they open their mouths, and then they're terrifying.
like a Mario character. Yeah, the teeth are scary as
The
hell.
teeth are very, very scary. Because even though it wouldn't really hurt, I mean, it wouldn't really like do a ton of long-lasting damage. I mean, that shit looks like it'll shred you up a little bit. It wouldn't be fun to mess with.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get eaten by one of these things.
Absolutely not. But yeah, cute little fish.
Again, developed a reputation as a ferocious predator.
I
Not
wonder
the
who
case.
started that.
They're popular aquarium fish.
Yeah, really?
You know who did? It was
Who?
Big Goldfish. Big Goldfish was trying to get people to buy less piranhas, more goldfish. They put money toward the Hollywood,
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look. Where did the
the
piranha
Hollywood
come
lobby.
from?
They were lobbying for piranhas to be. Anyway, the 1978 film Piranha by Joe Dante shows these fish in a similar light to Jaws. Piranha was followed by a sequel, Piranha 2, The Spawning, which you have to imagine was phenomenal, in 1982, and then 2 remakes, which I think means they were remade in 1995 and one in 2010, which you bet your ass I'm going back to watch at some point stoned. So these films. What's up? What's up?
I found where the piranha myth came from.
Where?
Brazilians told Theodore Roosevelt and his group not to venture into the water of the river because they would immediately be attacked and eaten by piranhas. Roosevelt was skeptical about how any fish of that size could be dangerous, but followed the words of the locals and did not go in the water. And then brought back with him that piranhas were dangerous and dense group attacking animals.
Roosevelt.
Yeah.
The Brazilians.
Yeah.
In cahoots.
Wow. Circa 1913.
Unbelievable. But they're generally timid scavengers.
Yeah.
They're
just
like
hanging out.
vultures of the sea.
I wonder if the Brazilians are like friends with the piranhas, the local piranhas, and so they just didn't want. Maybe Theodore was a
They have a
splasher.
pact.
Theodore must have been a splasher. That's what he was. They were trying to protect him because he was a splasher.
He was a splasher. He looked like he would be a splasher.
He did kind of look like a splasher.
Frankly.
It was the top hat.
Yeah.
Anybody that wears a top hat's a splasher, as I've learned throughout my long years.
In the 2010 film Piranha 3D, a previously unknown piranha is discovered. Christopher Lloyd's character misidentifies a specimen of this monstrous new species as the familiar Pygocentris natariri.
Piranha 3D was the one where they all go on like spring break and then the piranhas attack and a bunch of college kids die, I think, right?
remember the trailer.
Yeah, it was like the worst trailer I've ever seen. It got like, I'm pretty sure it went viral because of how bad, or maybe people thought it might be good. I don't know. I just remember seeing the trailer over and over again on
Yes.
Twitter for like 2 weeks.
It was like during that 3D movie craze.
Yeah, like right after Avatar, where
Yes.
everybody wanted
It's
to
like, fuck
make
it, we'll
a
crank
3D
out a
movie.
3D movie, and they made a dumbass one with piranhas popping out of the screen at
Exactly.
you the entire
That's
time.
all it. I guarantee you, every
It's just,
all the 3Ds are just yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever watched a made to be 3D movie in 2D, and there's all these weird frames where things like come directly at the screen, but it's not in 3D, so it just looks really stupid.
I have watched a made for 3D movie in 2D and noticed the different times where you're like, well, that was clearly supposed to be a moment for me there.
Yeah.
If I had the glasses.
It just doesn't. Were you ever a 3D movie guy? I hated 3D movies.
I went to a handful of them during the craze.
What about
but
4D?
I wasn't a fan of it.
One time I saw Spy Kids 4 in 4D with a scratch and sniff card, and it would tell you to like scratch the card at a certain time to have a fourth sense of smell. I'm not kidding.
Wait, really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It's pretty terrible.
Scratch and sniff 4D?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure one of them was
What is
like,
next? 5D and it's like you go watch Batman and when Batman's in a fight, a dude comes in and kicks your ass?
I wish, God, to feel something again. But anyways, also the Bugs Life exhibit at Animal Kingdom.
What
you sit on these you sit on this little wooden bench, and they have like these little runners that go underneath you that they like pop up at certain times to make it feel like a bug is crawling under your ass. It's like a little pin.
Oh, you're
thing.
full of shit.
I swear to you, dude.
On your mom.
On my mother. And they have mist that like splash in your face at certain times. That's 5D.
This is overdoing
They're
it.
going in 5D. I'm not
That's-
kidding. They have smell, feel, and 3D, like sight and whatever. What are the two? Visual and sound. Yeah.
I want to go watch like a sexy movie in that setting. And like I want somebody to run by and like spray me with perfume.
I feel like I feel like you want this in your head, and in practice, you really don't want this, Ross. In practice, a 5D porno sounds
Not
like
a porno.
hell on earth.
A sexy movie.
Like 50 Shades of Grey?
Like Mr. and Mrs. Brooks.
I've never seen that movie.
It's not sexy. I
Oh.
fucking hated it. Fucking hated it. Anyway, piranhas have been known in packs of hundreds to eat large animals like egrets or capybara. It's happened. Okay? But primarily scavengers, foragers. Just interesting. They typically tend to feed on weak, injured, dying, or dead animals, like I said, similar to the vulture.
They're the vultures of the sea.
No fear. We need to have no fear for the piranha. Embrace them as our homie.
Mm-hmm. Piranha, friend of the pod.
Also, not in any danger currently. The red-bellied piranha is widespread, locally abundant. In some of its range, it's one of the most common fish and species.
See, this is why. No, maybe the piranhas put out the false narrative that they were dangerous, so
To
people
keep
wouldn't
themselves
fuck
safe.
with them, and they kept them safe over time. Because all the
Genius.
animals that, like, look at the bison. The bison came across as like too friendly, and then we killed all of them.
Yep.
That was
This
bad.
was the piranha PR department making sure things went their way.
That's huge. Good for them. Proud.
How about that? Good to get back to an animal of the week. Feels good to talk fish again.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I wish I was Aquaman.
A fish that can munch, too, which brings us to our next sponsor. RBP 328 is brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store, makes home cooking fun, easy, and affordable. Seriously, every time I make one of the HelloFresh meal kits, I'm amazed that even I, the village idiot of the kitchen, even I am able to crush these, and they're so damn good and so much better for me and more healthy for me than all the other junk that I typically tend to eat when I run out of food in my house. Fast food meals. It's the year of the comeback in the kitchen, too. You know what it is. Go with HelloFresh. Their recipes are so delicious. They offer so many recipes to choose from each week to help you break out of your recipe rut. So many of us have been eating the same thing over and over and over, Coles and I included, during this 2020 spree where restaurants and everything it's just chaos out there. Grocery stores, screw all that. HelloFresh. They've got low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly recipes every week. They offer fresh, high-quality ingredients for a super flavorful experience, and over 90% of the ingredients are sourced directly from growers to ensure the freshest recipes are delivered to your door. You can save time and stress effortlessly. HelloFresh offers contactless delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking with the family, cutting out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and getting dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or even 20 minutes with their quick recipe options. You can save up to 28% by using HelloFresh versus your grocery store shopping trips. And on top of all that good stuff, HelloFresh is committed to giving back. They're committed to making fresh, delicious food available now more than ever. They've taken extra steps to keep their employees and customers safe and donated over 2.5 million meals to charity in 2019, and this year, in 2020, they're stepping up their food donations amid the coronavirus crisis. So go to HelloFresh.com/80RBP and use the code 80RBP to get a total of $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit HelloFresh.com for details. That's HelloFresh.com/80RBP, 80RBP. Use the code 80RBP for $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, baby. Start eating better today. Next segment. This is my sports prayer. If they lose tonight versus the Thunder in Game 7, the Houston Rockets, it'll likely be the final game in which Mike D'Antoni is the Rockets head coach. Probably the last game Daryl Morey, my dear friend and friend of the podcast and guest on episode 148, serves as the general manager. Possibly even James Harden's last game in a Rockets jersey. And I know that sounds dramatic, and for those of you who aren't huge Rockets fans, you probably don't care much. But this is my team. This is my squad. Out of any sports team, I fucking hate the Texans. The Astros are phenomenal. I love them. But the Rockets have always been my #1 favorite sports team. We've always had players, superstars that I have gravitated to, James Harden being the most recent, who I have a ton of respect for, the way he conducts himself, the way he handles his business, the way he has become one of the most prolific offensive scorers in the history of basketball while being one of the most hated players in the league throughout the course of his career due to his efficiency and the tactics in which he maintains that efficiency by getting to the foul line as much as he does, which, by the way, I would add, and by people saying he doesn't play defense and all this shit, he's just a very hated player, and he always keeps his mouth shut and just gets the job done. And he's never had his help come through for him. The one time they almost did when Chris Paul went down in that final game against the Thunder, against the Warriors, in which we almost made it to the NBA Finals, was the only time he's really gotten help. And even then, Chris Paul didn't play great in the playoffs. Westbrook was a total disaster last game. I have never seen a worse game played by a Houston Rocket in a playoff matchup ever.
Wow.
Westbrook was that bad, and he's obviously rusty coming off of an injury, but just inexcusably awful.
And the thing is, he looked decent the game before that. He looked like
he was okay. He looked rusty, but not like this.
Yeah. But it didn't look like, it was not a great performance last game.
For my Rockets and for some of my favorite players and people in sports, I also love Coach Mike D'Antoni and have a ton of respect for him. Daryl Morey, I really do seriously love. The dude is awesome. He gave us his time on episode 148. He's been really cool with me as a little social media friend that we've been back and forth for 6 years now, probably on Twitter and shit. And the stakes have never been higher in terms of the legacy of Daryl Morey, in terms of James Harden's legacy, Mike D'Antoni's legacy. I mean, this is small ball's legacy is on the line. It is a big game tonight, this Game 7, and it's going to be incredibly stressful. Chris and I have been getting slaughtered betting this series as it's come down to a Game 7.
I'm so tired of losing money on the Rockets.
But this is what it's all about.
Sure.
We've got 3 guys on the same court in a Game 7 of the weirdest NBA playoffs that may ever occur.
I hope it's the weirdest that ever occur.
That guarantee something explosive happens. James Harden, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, same court, Game 7. This is what we want.
This is what it's all about.
The only thing I ask is that the Rockets come out with a win, so here is my sports prayer. Dear God, please give my sports team the strength they need to do the things with the ball better than the other guys so they can win the big game and continue their team effort to bring the fans a trophy named after a man called Larry. It's been a long year, Lord. My wife left me. There's a pandemic. Our president is orange. And I need this. Please, God, give Russell Westbrook the wherewithal to know not to shoot the ball ever unless it's a point-blank layup or dunk. Pass the fucking rock, Russ. Excuse my language, Lord. Give James Harden the strength to not become so frustrated that he shuts down and permanently tarnishes his legacy by roaming the floor looking defeated. Give Mike D'Antoni the wisdom, Lord, to actually call plays involving his Hall of Fame franchise player in the final minutes of the game. All these things in sports ball's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Sports! Before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations as a result of having listened to this entire podcast, whether you like it, know it, or not. Number 1, you must rate and review. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, it takes 2 minutes, man. 5 stars, a couple sentences about why you love the show, boom, you're done. Rate and review wherever you listen, wherever you can. Number 2, check that box, move on to number 2. Tell one person about the show. Share the show with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual that you think might enjoy the Ross Bolen Podcast. Share the show with them this week. One person this week, one person next week, one person every week until the week you die. Then check that box and move on to number 3, your third and final legal obligation. Use our sponsor codes. Support the sponsors that are supporting us and keeping our show in business. Birddogs. Go to birddogs.com. Use the code RBP. Get you some nunchucks. HelloFresh. Go to hellofresh.com/80RBP. Get you $80 off your first box and free shipping and whatever else. The things I said. Bespoke Post. Go to boxofawesome.com. Use the code RBP. Get yourself some great men's stuff at an extremely discounted price. Those are your 3 legal obligations. Check all the boxes. Do them. I'll call off the dogs. We won't have to see each other in court, waste our time and money and energy on a long, drawn-out trial.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
For you. We don't want to waste your time.
I'll
like
call
that.
off the
It's really
dogs.
easy.
We all live long and prosper. Follow the
Amen.
show on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen. And as I've mentioned time and time again, you want to catch Coles and I live playing video games, you can do so on twitch.tv/Boss Rolen, BOSSROLEN. We play with listeners of the podcast all the time. Fall Guys, Warzone, rotating listeners in and out. We communicate with them through Discord chat, talking to them. You can hear our voices communicating with each other. You can also see us responding to people asking questions and throwing out hypotheticals and such in the chat. Come through, say what's up whenever you see us live. Follow, subscribe, twitch.tv/Boss Rolen. Chris Coulson. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can follow me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON.
Beautiful. Check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to RBP. Right now we are covering Yellowstone Season 1. Loving it. We're a little over halfway through now. 4 episodes of Season 1 of Yellowstone left to cover on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, hosted by myself and my dear friend of 17 years, Mr. Barrett Dudley. We're also covering Lovecraft Country on HBO. New show, Shit is Wild. Come through, watch those 2. We do about 20 minutes of general television entertainment and movie talk every episode as well. If you're not into either of those shows and you want to just listen to the general conversation, Barrett and I offer that as well on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. This week's episode was one of my favorite we have ever recorded. Highly recommend it. Go listen to OCC, again, wherever you listen to RBP. And that will do it for RBP 328, produced by Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We will be back on Monday with RBP 329. And, of course, before then, Friday on Patreon.com. Patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Patreon is just a platform that allows us to circumvent advertising and bring you episodes ad-free directly in exchange for your financial support of the show. Another exclusive premium ad-free episode coming Friday for dues-paying members of the RBP gang who pledge their monthly support to keep the podcast growing and showing. The minimum of just $5 monthly on Patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast to get 4 additional ad-free episodes every month, 1 per Friday. Come through, support the show, get more RBP. You are not alone. Podmen get paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Coles, say it.
Peace be with you. And also with you.